Good morning, Calvary, and welcome to our weekly Wednesday update. My name is Amy Anthony, and I am so excited to have Emily Sampson with us today, and we're going to talk a little bit more about a new ministry in town called Isaiah 117 House. So welcome, Emily.
Thank you very much.
Glad that you're here. For those of you who aren't familiar with Isaiah House, we're hoping today we'll let you know a little bit more about what they're doing, because we actually started financially supporting on a monthly basis this new ministry back in the beginning of 2022. So I'm very excited. So first of all, why don't you just start out by telling us a little bit about the broad overview of what Isaiah 117 House does?
Absolutely. Well, Isaiah 117 House is a new nonprofit organization that supports children entering foster care. And so our three main goals are to reduce trauma for children entering foster care, to ease the burden on the Department of Child Services, and to support placement families all on the day that a child enters foster care, which we call Removal Day. And so Isaiah 117 comes from the Bible, which is Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17. It says to defend the cause of the fatherless. And so we believe that this is God's calling for his followers, and it's the foundation of this ministry.
Yeah. So when I first heard about Isaiah 117 House, probably almost a year ago, I knew that this was going to be something that many people in our church would want to partner with, because we have a support group here at the church for parents who foster and adopt. We have several families who have adopted out of foster care or who are fostering. And so I was really excited right away to hear what you guys were doing. And knew that there would be people who would be very interested in getting involved. So I know that Isaiah 117 House is not just a local organization.
That's right.
So can you tell us a little bit about the national organization, when it got started? Are there others in Indiana?
Absolutely. Well, this all started in a little town in Carter County, Tennessee. It's very small. The population density is very small. And there's a couple, Rhonda and Corey Paulson, that live there, and they began their own foster care journey. And they felt God's calling in their heart to move beyond that, to change the way that foster care began for every child in their community. They met their son, Isaiah, as a
really?
9-month-old.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
That's great.
He was a 9-month-old baby boy. They met him at the back door of the Department of Child Services office. And he was dressed in a onesie that was too small for him, because the clothes that he came in were so filthy that the caseworker had to throw them away. And then they were handed a diaper bag, which was all that this little boy had in the world. And they were told to leave it outside for the next 12 to 24 hours so that the roaches could crawl out. And that really hit them hard, that this is reality. This is the way that foster care begins for so many children in their community. And so they started this ministry. The first Isaiah 117 House was opened in Carter County, Tennessee in 2018. And it has since spread to over 30 counties in 6 different states.
In 4 years.
In 4 years.
Wow.
And they're adding 2 more states this year.
That's exciting.
So there is one open Isaiah 117 House in Indiana that's in Vanderburgh County, which is the Evansville area. And then there's another one that's going to be opening this summer in Knox County. And then there is Boone County and Marion County and Spencer and Perry counties.
Are all in process.
Are all
you
in
guys
process.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Tippecanoe County.
Yeah. So how did this become personal for you?
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about what is going on in your life where this was something that you were like, I want to start one in Tippecanoe County.
Absolutely. Well, my husband and I felt God's calling very strongly in our lives to become foster parents. And so we did. After only a year of marriage, we became foster parents, and we welcomed 2 toddlers into our home, and very shortly after, we welcomed a third. So all in one summer of 2017, we started parenthood with 3 toddlers,
Wow.
2, 2.5, and 3. And it was very hard. And it was completely eye-opening to the need in our community and the brokenness and the hurt within the system. And it was just very hard. And as we walked through our foster care journey, we ended up having 10 children in our home altogether through foster care and through respite. We've adopted our first 3 foster children. They're 7, 7, and 8 now.
Awesome.
So it's still a lot. And it's just amazing to see God work in their lives. And so we decided to close our foster license because we wanted to focus on stability of our family and attachment and connection. And I still felt God calling my heart. And that was really hard because I knew that I needed to do something in the foster care system. God was just telling me that there needed to be something that happened. And so I saw a video on Facebook about Isaiah 117 House, and I knew instantly that God was telling me that this ministry needed to be brought here for our children, and our children cannot be left behind on the day that they enter foster care.
Yeah. So for those who aren't familiar, I guess, with what a typical first 24 hours would look like versus what it will look like once Isaiah House is here, can you kind of contrast those two things? Because I know a lot of people will hear Isaiah House and think, oh, people are living there.
Right.
It looks like a house.
Yes.
But it's not necessarily going to function like a house.
Right.
As far as people living there all the time or things like that. So can you just kind of say, here's what a typical 24 hours would have looked like before Isaiah House, and then once Isaiah House is open, what will that look like?
Absolutely. Well, when a child is removed from an unsafe home, there's a transition time from that removal until a safe placement can be found, whether that's a relative or it's a foster family. And during that transition, the caseworker brings the child to the Department of Child Services office, and that's on the 3rd floor of a office building downtown Lafayette. And so these children wait there, and the caseworker has to do paperwork. They have to make calls, they have to run background checks, and that process can take a long time.
And it could be the middle of the night.
It could be in the middle of the night.
Might not have clothing, might need a place to sleep, and they're sleeping on a floor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And often their belongings are in trash bags, or they don't have any belongings.
Right.
Often they're dirty, they're hungry, they're confused, and they begin to feel like it's their fault, that they've done something wrong to deserve that. And so they can wait in those office rooms or conference rooms for a couple of hours or even longer than that. And so Isaiah 117 House seeks to change everything about that first day. And so when a child is removed, instead of going to an office, they go to a home, and then they can get a bath, and they can play on the playground outside, and they can have a meal at the table, and they'll have volunteers from our community who wrap around them and be the hands and feet of Jesus and show them that they are not forgotten, that they're not alone, that they have nothing to be ashamed of, and that they are loved.
And not only will that reduce the trauma for the children, but also I would imagine makes the job of the DCS worker so much easier because they can focus on the paperwork and making a good placement.
Absolutely.
While some volunteers are caring for the emotional needs of the child.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned volunteers. So I know right now we're financially supporting, but once the house is opened, what will local churches be able to do to help out?
Well, the biggest need is spreading the word and letting people know that this is reality and this is happening not somewhere far away from here, but this is happening right here within our community. And I think once people are aware, God leads their hearts. This is volunteer and community raised, and so we need volunteers to be caregivers. We need volunteers to clean the house. We need volunteers to help us with fundraising. We need volunteers for every aspect of making this ministry a success and to make sure it is sustainable.
And it is a faith-based organization. So I know, what home church are you with?
I go to Covenant Church.
Go with Covenant, yes. And so we love Covenant. We've done several things with them before, but you have pretty broad support from several churches in town. I know it's been exciting to see just the number of fundraisers and how excited people are. I know when I've been out and about around town, I've seen people wearing the bracelet. I've seen people wearing the t-shirt. And so I know the community is very excited. So where are you at in the process right now with getting the Tippecanoe County House opened?
Yeah, well, we have been so blessed by our community. So many people have rallied around the hundreds of children entering foster care every year in our community. So we've done very well financially, and we've have a lot of financial supporters. And so right now we are continuing to raise funds, continuing to spread the word, get people involved. And also we are currently in the search of land. And so we hope to have that soon so that we can build as soon as possible. We have a contractor, and we have local businesses and subcontractors and suppliers that say, yes, we want to be a part of this. For our community's betterment and for these vulnerable children, and we want to be a part of this and build this house. So we are ready.
And I know just from following you guys on social media that you're already working with the Department of Children's Services, where you are supporting caseworkers with monthly encouragement and already working on a foster closet and things like that. So it's not like you are waiting until the house is there to be able to do anything. You're already making a difference. So I'm so thankful for what you guys are doing. I'm excited for how Calvary can continue to support and hopefully also provide some volunteers and things like that down the road. We will put some links in the comments of this video, and I would really encourage you to follow them on Instagram and on Facebook, because as you see those posts come up, you'll be able to pray for them and just remember about what they're doing. If they post needs about maybe things they're collecting for the foster closet, many of our parents here might have some of those needs. So as we close out, do you have 2 or 3 very specific things that we can be praying for right now for Isaiah?
Yeah, absolutely. Just be praying as we continue forward with the sustainability of this ministry, that we are able to be a success. Pray for our foster families. We need more foster families in our community so that the children don't have to go outside of county when they're placed. That they can remain within Tippecanoe County, remain with their schools and their friends. And pray for the Department of Child Services. They are facing a tough battle right now, and they need all the support that they can get.
Well, I'm thankful that you joined us today. I
you.
encourage everyone to check out their social media, learn more about them, and look for opportunities in the future about how you can get involved with Isaiah 117 House. Thanks for joining us today, Emily.
Thank you.